types. The second type is semi-structured documents, and semi-structured documents have, just like structured documents, have a fixed set of data, but the layout can vary between the documents. Examples are invoices, receipts, purchase orders, medical bills, etc., etc. And then the last type are unstructured documents, and unstructured documents are the hardest type of documents to process by a robot because they have no layout at all. The text they contain is of free form, so that's very hard for automating. Today, we're going to mainly focus on the structured documents and the semi-structured documents. Depending on the documents you want to process, UiPath has a few approaches you can use. The rule-based approach and the AI-based approach. Well, the rule-based approach is meant for the more structured documents, and the AI-based approach is meant for the semi-structured documents or the documents that have a higher variety in layout. Today, we're going to focus on the AI-based, the more interesting extractors, mainly the Forms AI and the machine learning extractor. For the machine learning extractor, we can define two types of machine learning extractors: the pre-trained models. You can just plug and play them in your script. So if you have generic invoices you need to process, you can just drag the invoices pre-trained model from UiPath into your script, and it will do the work. But if you have more specific documents to your organization, you can also create a custom model, of course, within the document understanding framework of UiPath, and you will be guided step by step. So that was a quick introduction about document understanding, but now I want to talk about the SPIE use case. Mika and I built for one of our customers SPIE, but before I'm going to dive into the solution, or Mika is going to dive into the solution, I want to introduce the customer and the problem they had. So SPIE Building Solution is a big company in the Netherlands, and they create smart technologies for within buildings, cities, to make buildings more efficient and to create smarter cities and help with the transition to green energy. And luckily enough, they not only building or developing those smart solutions, but also maintaining them. And because of this, they get a lot of service requests every year, almost 200,000 in a year. And these service requests can vary from, like small things, leaking tap on the first floor, to more important matters like a elevator which has made a free fall on the second floor, or even worse, a small fire or a smell of gas on the third floor. And SPIE has a lot of customers, and all those customers are sending those requests in their own template. So some customers are calling it priority, some customers are calling it service level agreement, others are talking about descriptions, and others are talking about subject. So because of the large amount of requests, the variety within those requests, and the urgency of some of those requests, SPIE asked us to create a solution for it to respond as quickly as possible and act on those requests. And my colleague Mika is gonna show the solution to you guys.
Yeah, thank you, Jack. I will start sharing my screen now. Okay, so yeah, I will talk about the solution that we created and how we implemented that for SPIE. I will start with the first part we created, which was initially we started rule-based with regex solution. On the right, you can see a little bit of how that works. So if customer one, if the current customer is customer one, look for the text behind contact info. If it is customer two, look for the text behind contact information, etc. And as you can see, every single customer has their own way of displaying the information, which means that if you want to add a customer, you will have to add a specific bit of logic to extract that data from the text. Which means that if you, for example, want to extract 10 fields from a document, and you want to add a customer, you have to add 10 of those pieces of logic to extract all of the information from the text. For just a few customers, that's fine. But if you want to add more customers, it creates a lot of work and also a lot of work to maintain. That's because it's not flexible either. Because, for example, if customer 1 changes the text contact info to contact information, then this won't work and the developer will have to change that manually inside of the rollup. So to be able to be more flexible and be able to add more customers, we started looking into the Forms AI solution. Forms AI uses a combination of templates and AI to be able to extract data from documents. Because it uses templates, it doesn't need a lot of documents to train. And every single Forms AI extractor has one template. And in our case, every customer has one Forms AI extractor. So I will now go through how the labeling for the Forms AI goes. The screen you see now is the document understanding screen in UiPath Cloud, where you can see that we have 3 extractors, all of type Forms AI, and every extractor has their own document type. So if you navigate to document types, you can see those same 3 customers. And if you want to add a Forms extractor, we also have to add a document type for a certain customer. So we will now add a new form or a new document type for a customer, for, in our case, customer KLM. So if we create this new document type, we are asked to import data. Here we have to add the documents where we want to extract data from. So I will, for now, upload 3 example documents. And after those documents are uploaded, I will open the import data screen again to upload the schema, which means that by uploading the schema, I add the fields that I want to export from the documents. Right now it has been imported, and you can now see on the right the fields I want to extract. This schema is an export from a different already labeled document type, and this has been exported and now imported so that I don't have to create those fields for every single document type that I want to add. So this is the screen you see when you want to label the documents. On the right, you have the fields you want to extract from the documents, and in the middle, you have the document itself with selectable text. On the top right, you see a button predict. For now, it has been grayed out because the Forms AI only allows you to use that predict button once the first document has been labeled, and it will then predict the values based on that first document. So the first document will have to be labeled manually. So you can just select all the text you want to label and then assign it to the relevant field. This is what it will look like once it has been labeled. So everything is color-coded to make it clear which piece of text connects to which field. If we then navigate to the next document, we see that the button predict on the top right is enabled. And if we click that button, it will predict the labels in the document. As you can see in the center, the description is not completely correct. It's missing the last word. So you can easily manually add that word to the description, and now it has been correctly labeled. And if we then go to the next document and click predict, we see that it already works pretty well. And that is one of the big advantages from Forms AI. It doesn't need a lot of documents to be trained, and it works really quickly. So now we have those 3 documents labeled, and we can publish it. And we will name the new form extractor also KLM. And then if we click publish, we see that it has been added to the list of extractors. And every extractor that you see in this list has a endpoint, which is used to access the extractor. So every single customer has their own AI endpoint for extracting data from the documents, which means that you have to classify which customer the document is for before you can extract the data, because you need to know which endpoints to use. And in the SPIE case, for that, we used the data service. So in the bottom, you see a screenshot of an example table for the data service. All the service messages from SPIE come in via email. And we have classification based on the mail subject, the mail body, and the mail sender. So as you can see, those columns are in the screenshot, where, for example, PostNL is always sends their requests via the address noreply@postnl.nl. So based on those values, we classify the customers and then use the correct AI endpoint. Besides that, we also have the data location and the page number added in this table, so that, for example, if a customer has an attachment where the data is in, we have the word attachment as data location, but some customers have it in the mail body. So we generate a PDF from that mail body and then use it to extract the data via the endpoint. And the page number is, for example, if a customer has an attachment where there is only relevant information on the second page, then we will only use that second page for the data extraction, so that no irrelevant data is sent to the AI model. And then lastly, what we use the data service for is predefined values. For example, on the right, you see priority. Some customers have a default priority for all of their complaints. And with this, you make sure that the priority is always, for example, high when for certain customers, if that's what you agreed on. And then lastly, when the data has been extracted via the Forms AI, we convert that to a JSON. On the right, you see an example JSON of how we send that to SAP via an API. And then once that data is sent to SAP, there will be a ticket that is generated inside of SAP. And that is the last step from the service request document to an actual ticket in SAP. So that is our case for SPIE. And I will now give the word to Dion.
Yes, thank you. I'll try to share my screen, but you're still sharing, so I can't take it over.
I will stop sharing.
Yes, thank you. So I think you can see my screen now. Yes, thanks. So I've been asked by our partner Tacstone to tell a little bit about our document understanding adventure in the processing of the UWV letters. Check my screen. Yes, but first a little introduction. I introduced myself already in the beginning of the meeting. I work in the team DPA, Digital Process Automation. They consist of 3 RPA developers and 5 BI specialists. In Partou, we built RPA or optimized processes for every department in the back office. In total, we have over 120 processes live, which starts over 200 process robots daily. Some robots start 1 time a day, sometimes a couple of 100 times. In total, we have a workforce reduction because of our efforts in RPA of 25 to 30 FTE. There's an introduction of Partou, we're the biggest childcare facilitator in the Netherlands. We also have some locations in England and in Germany. In total, we have 900 plus locations in those 3 countries where we take care of 80,000 plus children each day. We do that with 12,000 colleagues, most of them, of course, working with the children on the work floor. The back office isn't that big. Now into the document understanding. So as I mentioned, Tacstone asked me to tell a little bit about the document understanding for the UWV letters. So why did we take this process in? We have about 60 letters each day coming in. let me first explain what UWV is. UWV is a governance instance which takes care of the benefits for the sick people or people on maternity leave or people who are reintegrating. Unfortunately, we have sick people at Partou as well, so we receive about 60 letters each day. The processing of each letter takes about 5 minutes manual labor for the employee, and is a nice job, good process for our further rollout of document understanding. Of course, like most other companies, we started in the accounts payable department, processing invoices from our suppliers. So this was a good second process for us to pick up. So what did we do? First, we sat with the business. We tried to document and optimize the process because there was no documentation and no optimization. And we decided that it was best to have the process split up based on the subject of the letter. The UWV sends about 30 different kinds of letters with all different subjects, and every subject has its follow-up steps in the next steps of the process. So we decided for every process of every subject, we have to decide what are the next steps and what process do we need for that. We have structured data coming in. That's why we use regex. It's quite easy to get a complete alinea or a complete part of the text with regex. With the semi-structures or unstructured document, we used a document understanding. We built one document understanding model with 6 or 7 different training and evaluation sets in it. And we decided that it was best to communicate to the business with the action center from UiPath and Teams messages. I'll go a little bit more in detail about that in the next couple of slides. So what did we do to train the model? We downloaded enough letters from the UWV portal to have a good reliable set. So we tried to download 15 letters of each subject and 5 letters for the evaluation set. Then we anonymize the data because we don't want that when we have sessions like this or sessions with other departments in our company, that they can track back the letters we receive to our colleagues who are sick at home. And so we anonymized it. Also, when someone gets access to the orchestrator, we don't want them to have a look at this data. Then we created the training and the evaluation badges, and then we had to label the documents. And labeling the documents is what Mikael just showed you. In the document understanding as we built is quite tedious job. So we split it up in 3 different steps. One person anonymized the data, the second person labeled the data, and the third person checked if the anonymization and the labeling was done correctly, because it's really easy to make a mistake in labeling the documents. And if you do so, your model will become less reliable for the further processing of the document. After that, we evaluated the model, and I have a colleague of mine who's pretty good at looking at the evaluation that UiPath gives, because you get a log file where you can see how good your model is. When needed, we added more data, so more letters being downloaded, anonymized, and labeled and trained. And we trained the model if needed. I can show a little bit of that in the AI center itself. Let me just drag in my screen. So we have an UWV model here, which we train and label the data. This is Document Manager, and here you can see the subjects of the letters that we've got. So when we look at this one, the badge, you can see on the right side the data we want from this letter. So in this case, we want the dagloon, the start date of the sick leave, the end date of the sick leave, and the number of weeks that the person is sick. And when we scroll down a letter, you can see here the anonymization. So all the data from the colleague is gone. The reference is blacked out as well. So here you can see the data we got from this letter. It's here on the right, so you can see it worked out quite nice. But when we look at another letter, for example, this one, here we get a reason why someone didn't get a sick benefit. So we get here between the beslissing en motivering en uitbetaling van uw loon. I'm sorry, that's in Dutch, but there's the reason why this person didn't get a benefit. So you can see it here in the reason of rejection. There's the text. If we go to the right, you can see that there's all sorts of forms. Here it's a little bit different of a text. is also, you can see here we take a little bit of the first alinea and then the second text. So it's semi-structured. So it's for document understanding, it's perfect to read this data. I can show you another letter. Which one is best? This one. In this letter, there's a table at the bottom. And from this table, we want the date from when is this person sick. So here's only one date. But if we go to the third letter, it picks up all 4 dates. You can see here above that it took all 4 days, and we need all 4 dates to put into our HR system. So this way we can, based on the subject of the letter, decide which data we want to get from the system. If we look for this one, here we get, it looks like it's the same data than the previous subject I showed you, but here the number here, the 87.71, is not the number we need. In this case, it's down here in the letter. So we take the value from this and we put it in the dagloon in this place. So they let us look the same when you look at it at the first glance, but when you look more deep into it, you can see that they're all very different. So that's why we use document understanding for this part. Let me get back to the presentation. So how did we build the robot? First, we let the robot download the letters from the UiPath portal. The UiPath portal has two-factor authentication. So what we do is create a task in the Action Center from your UiPath and send a Teams message with a link directly to the task to the HR team, so that they know the robot started and we need their credentials to log into the UiPath portal. When they do, the two-factor pops up. So we need a text message being sent to the HR colleague, also a Teams message, and a task in Action Center is made. So they can put in the digits from the text message and give it back to the robot. So the robot logs into the system. Then it downloads all the letters that are there from this day. So it checks for the date of today and downloads the letters that the UiPath put there for Partou. So I said, based on the subject, we decide in which flow the letter goes. So it's a document understanding or a regex flow. When it's document understanding flow, the first 2 pages of the document are not of any value for Partou. There's no information that we need. When you digitize such a document, it takes more time if you have 5 pages than you have 3 pages. So we cut the first 2 pages. It also saves some AI units, of course, when you process 60 letters a day. So that's another benefit there. What we then do is when the document understanding model is not certain enough, and we put it at a real high, we put the confidence level at 99%, because we don't want the robot to make any mistakes in this kind of information. So when it's not certain for 100%, a validation action is made in the Action Center for the colleagues. They also get a link again via Teams message. They can validate the message or validate the task and put in the right information or confirm that the robot did correctly. So when the document understanding model is certain enough, or the task in the Action Center is completed, the robot processes the letter in the document understanding model and fills in another robot queue for processing the letter. What we then do is, based on the social security number, find the right colleague in AVAS, our HR system. When we find the right colleague, we add the letter to the personal file, and the data the robot took with the document understanding model or with the Rexel model is put into AVAS as well. And then the correct workflow is started so that our colleagues from HR or the company doctor, for example, gets a task or an action in AVAS Insight, so they can do their proper jobs, and nobody has to do this by hand. I can show in the model. So this is the first model where we based on the subject of the letter decide which flow the robot needs to take. So in this case, you can see how much subject the UiPath uses. So in this case, it's being added to the verwerking document understanding flow. When the UiPath decides to have a new subject, or subject is not known to us, We also sent a message to our HR colleagues that we got a message with a subject we cannot use, also not in the regex flow or in the document understanding flow. We also put in a copy of the PDF in a Teams message and ask them to process the letter themselves. And if it's a new subject where they do want processing with regex or document understanding, they can ask us and we can train and upgrade our document understanding model, of course. Then the second flow is, let me check here, yes. This is the place where the robot cuts off the first two pages of the PDF. And here it extracts the data from the letter we received from the UFA. And as lastly, when the validation is not 99% or above, a Teams message is being sent in this flow. So the robot can send a team message and the HR department can pick up itself. And in the last flow, it's just processing the letter from all the data we got from the models. So what we do here, we just assign all the information in the queue item. Here we decrypt the text because we need the BSN. We don't want the BSN in the log files, of course, but we decrypt it here. Same goes for the location where the file is saved. Here we add the letter to AFAS, to the file of the personnel. And here we start the flow in AFAS Insight for the other departments to do their work based on this letter. So that's about it for my part of the presentation.
Nice, Dion. Thank you. I will take over again. Well, we're really quick today. We're just gonna dive into the lessons learned. And yeah, I will start. And the first one is really cheesy, but it's true. Don't hesitate, just start. And I say this because UiPath will really guide you through all the steps for training and labeling your documents to create a machine learning model, which can sound really difficult. Create a machine learning model and implement it into your script. But yeah, because the guidance of UiPath, it's quite simple actually. And the second one is choose the correct AI model. So make sure to understand the difference between the Forms AI model Mikael just showed you guys and the semi-structured model Dion showed, because that's really important to choose the correct model for your specific use case. So yeah, these are my lessons learned, Mikael.
Yeah, be consistent with labeling. Consistency and the correctness of labeling is very important with AI models. What a lot of people say is trash in equals trash out. So if you are not consistent or make mistakes during labeling, your AI model will also be inconsistent or make mistakes. And it's especially important with labels that are similar. So for example, the person that sent the request and the contact person, it's very important to have the correct difference while labeling the document so that the result of the AI model is as you expect.
Yes, thank you.
Yes, also quite obvious, but get enough data. When you train a model based on 3 or 4 letters, you probably won't get a very stable model. So get enough data, but not too much data of a certain letter, because you don't want overfitting as well. Quite logical as well, involve the business, especially for the labeling part. They know what data they want from the letter. And as I just showed you, a lot of letters look the same. So it's quite easy to make a mistake there. So if you involve the business, they know exactly what and where the information is from there. And generic is not always the best way to go. You can build a generic model and just get all the values from in one generic model. But you can, in this case, easily split in different evaluation and training sets. It makes it easier to update the model when a letter changes. For example, the UFA is changing their formats for something. You can really easily change it. You don't have to retrain and rebuild the entire model. So that's from my lessons learned.
Yeah, and get enough data really depends on the model you're choosing, because the Forms AI model only needs 2 to 5 documents to properly work. And for the semi-structured model, it's a whole different story. It depends on the differences between the documents and the number of fields you need to extract.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, but keep that in mind. Okay, well, this was already the last slide. Oh, maybe this one for, maybe we can answer some questions right now. You can put it in the chat or be brave enough to ask them on camera, but it's both.
There's already one question in the chat about AI units being consumed during a labeling session. Can you answer that question?
I can answer it. The predicting in the labeling of the documents does not cost any AI units. No.
For the Forms AI, but also for the semi-structured AI. Dion, maybe you can.
For labeling, there are no AI units used. For training, there are.
Yeah.
So when you train a model, you use AI units.
Yeah. Okay.
So, which UiPath training do you recommend to start with? Is asked by Emilia.
Yeah, Mika and I did the specialized AI professional training, but I think it's a bit overkill for this topic because, yeah, as I already said, UiPath will really guide you through the steps. So I think there are a lot of special modules for document understanding, so I would recommend to follow those modules. But once again, it is really or relatively easily to start. And yeah,
I feel like it's mainly understanding the document understanding platform,
yeah,
or then understanding the AI behind it.
Yeah, but if you try to evaluate your model with the log files you get from your UiPath, you do need some experience with that.
yeah,
When you look at it, my colleague, I think he's in the meeting as well, knew exactly what he was looking at. I had no clue. So at that point, you do need some knowledge. I'm not sure if there's a training for that because he took an entire master on it. So he didn't need any, but I'm not sure if there's training for that. But you do need some knowledge there.
yeah. Indeed, to evaluate the results of the models can be a bit harder because you need to know what to do next to improve your models. So then general AI machine learning knowledge is recommended. But for the document understanding, yeah, first implementations, it's really easy.
Yes.
Okay. Some other questions? Otherwise, we can also ask them via LinkedIn. Yeah, we will be happy to answer it.
Yes.
Mika,
a question for you.
Yeah, I see. About the integration of SAP with an API. Yeah, we use an API for SAP to generate a ticket in SAP. That's not really a part of the document understanding. That's just a part of that case for SPIE.
So with the extracted values from the service requests, you create an API request to get the request into the system as quickly as possible because they can be really urgent. So we started doing this via the user interface, but it took too long and there are a lot of messages each day. So yeah, it took too much time. Does this answer your question? Okay. Yeah, let's wait for half a minute and then we can end the session, I think. I think all the questions are being asked. Thanks everyone for joining us. And in the case of Partou, last minute, just in time, Dion.
We anonymized it with a program called, and let me check it for you, PDF24 Toolbox. So we used an application outside of UiPath for that. Put it in the chat.
Nice. Okay. Christina, I think we're done.
Yes, yes. Thank you. Thank you all. I'll just share again the Amsterdam chapter link in the chat for anyone who has not yet joined the chapter. And you can also tell us in the chat if any of you are willing to participate in a live meetup event in Amsterdam that we intend to hold in the beginning of July, end of June, beginning of July. But anyway, if you want to keep up with the news and events published by the Amsterdam community, please join the Amsterdam chapter and stay close to us. You can also write to us and suggest event themes, subjects, or if you want to be a speaker and propose an event. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you. Have a nice day.